How deep should we bury cable and ducting underground? So this week's Q&A of the day has been sent in by Andrew from Cambridge, and he not only wants to know how deep we can bury a duct or a cable, but also wants to know if any duct will do. Oh, I don't know, do I? See what Google says. If you've ever tried to figure out how deep to bury a cable or duct, you'll know it's a bit of a minefield. But yes, 7671 doesn't give one clear answer. In fact, different parts of the regs give different values. Section 708 for caravan sites, a favourite of Joe Robinson on one we've done a CPD on, that gives you one depth, and section 709 for marinas, well, that gives you another. Guidance note 1, well, that recommends 0.5 metres as a rule of thumb. Then there's a code of practice for electric vehicle charging, which has a really helpful table with depth recommendations for all sorts of services. But those are taken from the National Joint Utilities Group or NJUG document, and they're not always crystal clear either. And they also relate to services buried under a path or carriageway. So what's the actual answer? Well, you might be surprised to learn that there is no specified minimum depth required. Regulation 522.8.10 of BS 7671 states that cables must be buried at a sufficient depth to avoid damage from foreseeable disturbances. But different locations will require different considerations when it comes to a duct or cable burial depth. What works in a driveway might not be suitable for a vegetable patch, a lawn, or a future extension. Well, that's what we're going to be finding out today, because we're putting a duct in from this studio to this brand new extension. We've got John the digger driver on hand to help us get the trench in. But before we broke ground, we had to take one important step. Before you dig, always scan for buried services. We used a CAT scanner to sweep the area, although I have to admit, Paul the builder wasn't very impressed with my technique. What are you doing? And Gordon did a video on this when we dug up the car park at Skipton, and we looked at the safe dig procedure from the HSE website. So I let the experts handle it, and once Paul gave the all clear, John fired up the machine and we got to work. We've dug this trench to a depth of 750 millimetres. That's deeper than you might expect for a private garden, but there's a good reason for it. We're laying a water pipe first, and water services need to be deep to prevent freezing in cold weather. Once that pipe is laid and covered in sand for protection, we move on to our ducting. We're placing this duct at around 600 millimetres deep, more than enough in this garden area, which will be laid to lawn. We're now surrounding the duct in pea gravel, which helps drainage and keeps it in place. Next, at about 300 millimetres above the duct, we install our warning tape. That way, if anyone digs here in the future, the tape will get hit before the duct does, giving them a clear warning before it's too late. With that done, we can finish the trench and backfill. Now, although we consider the depth that the duct is buried at, is there anything we need to consider with the actual duct itself? It is recommended that even for an armoured cable, we should provide mechanical protection in the form of a duct or conduit, but according to regulation 522.8.10 of BS 7671, if you're using an unarmoured cable, they need to be in a suitable conduit or duct that meets BS EN 61386-24 for conduit systems buried underground. But not all ducts are the same, so let's break it down. N250 ducts are lightweight for gardens and light foot traffic. N450 are medium duty, which are suitable for driveways and areas where light vehicles may pass. And N750 is a heavy duty for high traffic areas and public roads. This is the spec that's used by DNOs for public distribution networks. The markings on these ducts indicate their impact and compression rating, like 450 or 750, and these numbers relate directly to the mechanical stress that they can handle. So there you have it. It's not just about how deep you bury your cables, but it's about how well you protect them. And avoiding the common myths means your installation is safer, longer lasting and fully compliant. A big thanks goes to Andrew from Cambridge for sending us in that question on ducting. And if you've got a question that you want answering and got no one else to turn to, then be sure to email me at willittrip@efix.co.uk or send me a message over on LinkedIn. And you can win a £20 Amazon voucher for having your question featured on Q&A of the day. And be sure to check out all the other amazing questions that we've answered right here.